Good morning and welcome to DieDragonDie Plays RimWorld Alpha 16 build. I'm your player today, Marty, and RimWorld I kind of discovered or started playing maybe about a week and a half ago, and it's been the reason why I haven't got much sleep in the last week and a half. So it's become my sort of new obsession. The game is still in alpha, but it's still pretty fun to play, especially in the early portions of the game. I've installed a number of mods, including more vanilla turrets, expanded prosthesis, and organ engineering, a weapon pack, RT's weapon pack, medieval times, prepare carefully, efficient light, rim fridge, tilled soil, and glittertech. But I think we're going to start out this first playthrough of RimWorld as a tribe. So I've created a tribe, and I've already sort of loaded the map and did all that character creation stuff to begin with. Of course, I used prepare carefully, so I was able to edit. I did give us a little bit of more starting wood and some decent weapons, some bows and machetes to start out with. I called them poor young cannibals, so one of the things I did was I made every single one of the starting colonists or tribesfolk a cannibal. So why don't we dive right into it, and we'll keep track of how many people we eat during the course of this. I'm just going to make sure my audio is working. There we go. Okay, so it is working. Let's go to RimWorld itself. Such a beautiful game, and the soundtrack is amazing. So I really like the all-round season growing, so I started in an area, I think that's me, yes. So let's just look at the terrain. It's year-round growing period, but it's not so warm that you're gonna pass out. I really like only having a couple of stone types available. I know there's some medieval tech that I'll need limestone or particular stone blocks, so we'll have to look up for traders. I like this because you basically are only collecting 2 as opposed to 3 stone types. So I looked around the map for a good starting spot, and then we chose mountainous. While I've played a few games on my own, some personal games, where basically you play troglodytes and dig into mountainsides. I want that as an option, maybe for as we gain tech. But right now we are basically hunter-gatherer tribesfolk. They've changed the graphics. Oh, that doesn't really. My placement of the chat isn't that great, so let me just move that around. Let's see if that's a little bit better. The graphics for the game, yeah, I don't know how long ago you played it level, but this is build 16, and unfortunately if I click off screen then it minimizes. Oh, it looks like my screen size has changed. So let's make this a little more crisp. Okay, so I started off with seven colonists. They all have the cannibal trait, and they're kind of specialized. So each one has their own type of jobs. The people to look out for are bull and hippo. There are melee guys. Jellyfish is our assassin. She's really good at range, but she doesn't have she has some skills that she can't do. Jackal is just another hunter type. Gray Fox is our can't do any. He cannot do any of the violent acts, but he's our researcher. And then Chinchilla, I think, is our like can do a little bit of everything. So let's look around the map for a moment before we decide. I've got the game on pause. So in general, if we're going to go troglodyte, this mountain range is a huge area to go into. So I would like to build along that side to start. Of course, we're not going to start digging into the mountain when we have like really low tech. That seems like a waste of time and energy. All right, so we'll build on the left-hand side of the screen. And then we want to build walls to kind of wall off a vast area. And it looks like, yeah, that center mountain piece is kind of chunked off. We might have to reinforce this area. So when enemies appear, they're going to appear kind of along the edges here. Huh. Okay. So I like this swath of territory. And then if we're going to do some planning for power, like this is looking way into the future, geothermal spots are basically power. So we started near 2 of them. Oh, there's a 3rd one there. Okay, that one's pretty cool. There's a 4th one. Wow. All right, so my defense strategy is starting to kind of. So if we build walls eventually down here and corner this off, of course we could build up to that. And we build walls here, then we've got basically half the map to ourselves. Might be tricky to keep in the early games. I'm kind of on chillax mode because we're starting off as tribes folks, and I want to see if cannibalism is actually a beneficial thing. We're on the chillax storyteller. I will amp up the difficulty later if it seems to be too easy. I haven't done all of the... I haven't played with all the tech yet, and then the medieval pack introduces a bunch of other tech. So I think when we need to build defenses, we basically wall off this area, and then to the south, we're going to wall off this area, and maybe as a... so we're not wandering too far. I think as a stepping stone, we might wall off here. Okay. So the first task, I think, is to get everyone armed. I dropped longbows and machetes, and we'll have Bull arm a machete, and Grey Fox can't. Hippo will arm him with a machete. Jackal needs a bow. Vultura needs a bow, I think. Yeah, she's a shooter. Jellyfish definitely needs a bow. Chinchilla is also a shooter. Did I spawn enough bows for everyone? Yeah. I think we've got a few extra machetes. So let's just quickly get them armed. Alright, so everyone is armed. Except for Grey Fox, because he cannot. He is a kind of our shaman type. He's a very social guy, but he cannot do the violence. Now, where do I actually really want to start? I think my kill box is going to go here. I'm going to reuse this. What is this? A slate wall. Yeah, slate. I think most of the mountains are made of slate. Yeah, so there's no point in deconstructing that wall. We'll just incorporate that as part of our defense. What is this gray? This brown. This brown looks like it's rich soil. Okay. So maybe put our farms up here. Have the farming going on, and then have everyone kind of close to the kill box. Yeah, that's not too far of a trek. So I think that's where we're going to go. So the thing that we want near our farms is a place to... we want enough space to build our like... I don't have any animals. Basically, we're cannibals. We're probably going to be big into hunting and meat. So I decided no animals to start. Our storage area will go here. So they'll work in the farms and kind of store, which means our... I also want a farm area in front of our kill box. So farms to the north, storage along this side, which means housing and work will be here. So let's build our first house. Our first housing unit. Let's try to keep the first housing unit close to where our kill box is going to be, because then we could eventually turn that into a hospital and a hospital and a prison. Okay, I've been playing around with in the last week and a half with like building designs and how big to build things. And while I can't show you the radius of a orbital trade beacon, it fits perfectly inside a 17 by 17 wide room. That room is too big, your ceiling will collapse, so you got to build walls into it. But a 17 by 17 breaks into a very nice kind of like 4-section room. So I want to play around with that a little bit. So if you see me building perfect squares of a certain type, that's kind of why. Basically, I'm going to upgrade some of these buildings into storehouses later on, and stick an orbital trade beacon right in the middle of them. So I'm going to be a little bit particular about it. And then I think that will make us much larger bedrooms to start with. So let's build our first. Let's unblock the woods. Yeah, I gave them a little bit more starting wood just so we can build some pretty big-ish buildings to start. Let's line this up with our kill box wall. I guess I could use the plan mode. Alright, so let's start about here. Let's do a 17 by 17 box. And it divides nicely into these kind of sectional rooms, and then you can imagine in the center I would place the orbital trade beacon, and it would be able to access, I think, maybe we'd have to destroy some walls, but I think those entire areas. So let's draw a few of these things just so I can see where they end up. We might have to burrow into the mountain a little bit, but that's fine. Okay, cool. I'm just going to take a moment to just do a bunch. I tend to build too many farms, which means I always have a surplus, which means I always have like tons of rotting food everywhere. Okay. Alright, so I think that's good. And then we're going to build... if they're doing food prep and food storage, let's have these center ones, our common areas, and starting to work, and then we'll do more of our hunting gathering down, because all of our resources are going to be down. So I'll draw a couple more of these. Oh, I'll have to keep in track of shit. Maybe I should have done this around where the power is going to be. That's fine. It's kind of middle-ish. It might screw up 2 boxes, but we could have powers and batteries and that sort of thing in the similar area. Okay. And then one more. Okay, let's not put anything too crucial over top of the steam vent. Maybe we'll just make it a dumping ground for blocks. And then food is up. Couple of food storage work. All right. So I think I know where we're going to build our first home. So we're going to put it right over these trees. I'm going to subdivide this a little bit further, and we'll have this general area the size of our bedrooms, at least in the first phase of the game. Eventually I want to build into the side of the mountain, but we'll see how things go. Alright, so our first bedroom, which will act like a barrack, let's build that space. beds. We need 7 beds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That place. Other than heat and cold, what other dwarf fortressy ways of killing invaders is there now? So one of the packs, I can't show you the tech because I started up as a tribe. Let's see what security we have. We only have wooden barricades and deadfall traps. I don't know what the shield is and the emote. I haven't played around with those. But there are gun turrets that you can man. Crossbows, ballistas and catapults. We might play around with once we delve into that tech. So one of the mods does introduce a lot more early game siege weapons. It's almost like the vanilla game has tribe and then everything post electricity. So this medieval pack actually kind of introduces this whole tech tree kind of in between, and we can look at the tech tree. Yeah, there's like medieval smithing, medieval tailoring, and then there's a bunch of medieval defense systems before you actually build your turrets. And then the gun complex is something that you man, which I thought was pretty cool. But given that we're just a bunch of tribes, we're poor young cannibals, we're a little bit further away from that. But once we get a research bench up and running, we'll be able to do that. And then I wanted food storage to the north here, so why don't we just make sure that make sure they're not living in darkness. The barrack will get a torch. And we'll get a potted plant just to see if that will help. Alright, we'll unforbid some of the food. We definitely need a spot to put all of our excess stuff. I think we can build 2 buildings in one day. And that first day, I think we should be able to get that done. All right, let's see. Hunter lacks ranged weapons. Oh, we didn't assign our work. Okay, everyone's gonna firefight. I really like the manual priorities over the other thing. It took me almost a week before I realized you could do this. I was running around like mad, basically screaming at them, saying, "No, don't do that, do the other thing." Gray Fox is our main doctor. We'll have the other guys do... Let's prioritize bed rest. Flicking of switches, sure. I don't know why you wouldn't want everyone doing that. Warden. Yeah, let's make Gray Fox our primary warden. Handling animals. Not that I plan on having many. Jellyfish apparently could do the most. Cooking. Apparently Vultura is the cook. Right. It seemed really quick. Of course, the game's in alpha, so maybe they wanted something starting. They wanted to play around with the edges of the game. But the medieval pack is pretty cool. It does introduce a bunch of medieval factions. So these are the people that we've got in this world. We've got the Outlander Union. I also installed a pack which is glittertech. So this is like even beyond the last kind of portion of tech, which is pretty neat. And then I think the weapon pack also introduces a bunch of tech to research. So we might actually get 2 research benches going if we find, if another colonist joins and has a high research. Because there's so many new things to research. So there are some medieval societies, and they've got, looks like we're friendly with 2 of them. I think I might ruin reputation with the crowned hyena, given that they're They're pretty bad. We want to basically capture people and eat them because we're playing cannibals. Alright, so there's a tribe, a medieval warband, and a pirate gang that are all our enemies, and the Outlander Union and Orion Corp, and then two medieval societies that are our friends, or at least potential allies. So they did introduce a bunch of new factions, and we were doing work. So construct, I think everyone should be building things at this point. Let's just turn off all the smithing and get to that when we need to. We don't have all the benches and everything for this stuff anyways, so I'm just going to turn it off, and then as we build, we'll make that decision. Hauling, I think all of us need to be doing hauling at this point, and then research will turn off for now. We'll revisit that when we build benches. I think they don't care as the cannibalism trait. Let's just open up Chinchilla and see. Social character, cannibal. Chinchilla was taught that eating meat was wrong. Eating human meat was wrong and horrible. But one time, long ago, she tried it and she liked it. So, yeah. Let's just make this our temporary dumping pile, and then we'll stick blocks, I guess, here. And we'll store everything there for now. I don't like how fast things decompose. Like items, how fast they decompose. Seems really annoying, but let's get to building. All of our beds are built, and then let's prioritize carrying of those weapons. Chinchilla, prioritize the haul. We'll prioritize hauling the medicine. Okay, I think, yeah, we dropped a lot of wood. I don't like how they're collecting the wood. I should have turned that off, but let's see. I can handle it this way. Let's not put wood in here. Okay, so they did some hauling, and we've got our barrack. Let's get some food generation going while we're cannibals. A long time ago, she was raised to be vegetarian. She always wanted to try meat. Like, I was human, so she ate that. And it tasted much better than tofu, so she became a cannibal. Exactly. But fava beans, we need fava beans, so I think we're gonna start our farming. Create a growing zone. I know it's a little bit far away from our first house, but let's create a growing zone. And we will make these the same dimension as what we were doing before. Let's get some strawberries. And let's do some rice, maybe? Or potato. Rice. Potato. And we will have to get the cotton going as well. So eventually our clothing will break down. Oh, we need a place to communally meet. For now, we'll just put it outside, because I think your colonists or tribesfolk can go stir crazy if they're always inside. So let's build a table and some shitty chairs. One thing I don't like is that they always complain, hey, I ate without a table, but if you... It seems like they're too stupid to sometimes go up to the table. I played a game where I put a table in every room with chairs and some of the happiness mods. Oh, we've got 7 people and 6 chairs. The soundtrack to this game is amazing. Alright, so they'll have a place to live, and then we'll give them some joy right away. They can chuck around this... Oh. Let's put it near the farm, or we don't care. Put it on the other side of this adobe wall. No, it's a granite wall. Okay. Slate. Oh, sleep schedules. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Let's give them some joy time in the morning. And an extra hour of anything. Kenny, how's it going? Not too bad. Hunter lacks a ranged weapon. Did I? Oh, that's right. Melee guys can't hunt. Okay. It's 25 degrees out in the middle of winter. What? What? Average winter temperature 20.2. Yeah, I found a really good temperate zone that is in a warm area, so it's like temperate mountain in the middle of a huge desert. All right. We do have to worry about heat waves. I had one game where like the temperatures were like 50 C and everyone was passing out and a couple people died because of heat stroke. I think tunics are a way to get rid of that, and then cowboy hats actually help out with that. Okay, so we've got our outdoor picnic table for the evening. They're all going to run and do some planting. I guess we need to prepare our butcher area. It's too bad we didn't have a lot of granite and marble to start with. I would have built some sort of like temple with a butcher. I think that's going to be the plan. There's going to be a temple, it's going to be beautiful, and at the front there's going to be a butcher table for the altar. The special place. But for now I think we're going to have to lower our expectations because all we have is wood. We do have a little bit of... Oh, I think we have a little bit of steel. I didn't forbid. Alright. Butchering table. Feels like our kitchen needs to go in this little area. So we'll build build some walls. A fueled stove. Sure, we'll make this our kitchen area, and then a butcher table. We need to make that out of wood. Can the stove benefit from a toolbox? I don't remember. How do we leave space? No, these are going to be wide open rooms, so I'm not too concerned. Oh, right. And a door. Light. Oh, construction field. Come on, hippo. There we go. And we will go bills, add bill, butcher creature forever. And then we're going to actually include humans, allow colonist corpses, and allow stranger corpses. I'm just going to turn down the music just a little bit. So we're going to allow human corpses, we're going to allow strangers, and we'll eat our own. Yeah, we won't do any of the cremation or we will eat our own. Yeah, that. Yeah, will it be a DSAT? I don't know. It's pretty funny. We're cannibals, so we'll do this. Yeah, the world building, writing about styles of martial arts seems like a lot more fun than shrubs and bushes. Although, the way that you make shrubs and bushes, you don't detail all the mundane stuff. You detail the stuff that's special, the stuff that gives modifiers, the stuff that, you know, this type of wood makes really great bows and might, you know, is a prerequisite for masterwork or something like that. So I'm sure that there's ways of making shrubs and bushes a little bit more interesting. In one playthrough, I had a cannibal as my doctor. There's so many. Exactly. I think with the expanded prosthesis bills, you can actually harvest organs. I don't know if that is part of the vanilla game, but yeah, it's an option for a medical procedure, an operation that you can apply to any of your captives. So you can actually harvest organs, and then I think you can mince organs. So if we add a bill, yeah, there's making kibble, and then mincing organs and mincing limbs. So you could actually harvest specific organs, mince it up, and then I think then it becomes food. Organ harvesting is normal? Okay. Yeah, I a lot of parts of the game I didn't explore in the first, week and a half that I've played it. But mincing organs and limbs, that's pretty funny. So we might try that out depending on what we've got. Now, one of the things about colonists all living in a barrack, they don't seem to like it. So I am going to start building a ridiculous number of rooms for these people. Now, it looks like I deviated slightly from the plan. I don't think that was supposed to be a storehouse. But then I noticed that... Okay, so I might build it one over. There's a big block here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's probably not too bad. So we'll get started on building our bedrooms. Bedroom apocalypse. I think we're just going to build a big complex of overlapping square rooms. I know it's a little bit... doesn't feel like a colony, but... Alright. And if the beds are good, we will reuse them. Like that superior bed and the good ones, maybe even the normal ones. The awful ones we might just destroy and recreate. So there's 4 bedrooms once that's complete, and we've got 7 colonists, so let's do some more. I don't know how much wood we have. Let's keep an eye on this. See, earthen floors are actually a beauty of 1. Interesting. It's almost like you don't need to build floors, but I imagine that's bad. Just don't get a good feeling from not doing it. Wondering how long I could put off doing flooring, like until I research carpets or get more stone. Okay. Oops. The one thing I always do with prisoners is take a kidney along. Kidneys and lung harvest are for the people I like. Yeah, I guess everyone has their preference, but I could see more interesting than the mundane stuff would be the stuff that you do things with, or that are prereqs for certain types of craft, or that are really desirable. Yeah, I would definitely not go overboard. However, if you're doing low magic world, you need to have stuff for your characters to create and interact with and collect. Because removing magic from a game like Dungeons and Dragons kind of leaves this gaping hole of, that you're trying to fill in. What were we doing? We were going to move some of these beds. Awful. That one. Which system are you building this content for, Kenny? I like the fact that you call them tier. I think it's a 4th ed concept of tiers of heroes. Not that I'm a big 4th ed fan, I just liked the description of the players, or of the power tiers. Close to the kill box. Alright, let's double the other ones around. very early on in these playthroughs, you end up capturing a colonist or like a visitor joins. That's what I've noticed. Alright. These bad beds. Let's see how much wood we have. We've still got lots. That bed's only 35. So yeah, let's try rebuilding some of these beds. See if we get a better craft. Jellyfish is our assassin. She's also our hunter. Let's hunt some of these little critters. Leave the big ones alone for now. Yeah, novice, veteran, expert, master, grandmaster, heroic. Alright, so we've got some plants. We've got our barracks. We've got each a bedroom. I think it's at this point we need to start thinking about our defense. While I don't waste all of our wood, let's stick up wooden walls for now. We'll upgrade those to stone later, or just maybe thicken them later. So we want to kind of box ourselves in here. And where we're going to do this to the south. I will expand this later on, but for now, keeping out the odd angry warg or lone traveler. I don't think they'll bust through walls yet. We've got no stone. Oh, we've got... No, we don't have any stone. Here will be our kill box. And I think this is going to be the expensive wall. Mind you, we went a little bit further south. We don't have to do that. Yeah, let's cancel. They spawn down here, they can walk around to our kill spot. Of course, they might get smart and mine through these areas, but we'll have to just deal with that if that happens. Alright, and then what kind of kill box are we going to make? Cool. Yeah, immunity to poison disease is a pretty powerful power in a low magic world. Hmm. Are we gonna make them snake through a bunch of crap? Are we just gonna set up the classic kill box? Everything is just the same amount of slowness. I think we want to line up here, and then we want to fire up. It's weird because I don't have any of the weapons, so I can't check their ranges for now. That feels about right. One of the strategies I wanted to try was to have a back door. So what I find is if you set up your kill box too efficient, only half of them go in and die and then they run. I want to figure out a way to catch the runners. If they run to the south, maybe our back door is here. We kind of... Oh, actually, they can go off the screen. Yeah, we'll have to maybe mine out some of this stuff for a back door. Back door up there. Okay, that's good for now. We'll get them to force their way through an entrance. We'll just make it a box for now. We don't have any of the tech to really do anything with the box, but hopefully we'll have enough wood for this. If not, we'll have to get to the chopping. Okay, if they come from the north, at least now we have a place to rally. If they come from the south, that's gonna probably take us a couple days to complete. Oh, she's hunting. Okay. I'm like, what is that sound effect? Killing birds. Alright, everyone's back to farming. Did we finish it? We certainly did. We've got our shitty wooden wall defense with an open area. Okay. Nothing to hide behind. Although one thing I can do is I think you get penalties when you're standing in the darkness and being fired at. So I can expand the roof, or the no roof area. Okay, so we're going to force them to never build roofs here. And then we're going to build a roof stuff begins. Okay. We might need to support the roof. So the gun turrets are 3 wide. So let's see. 1, 2. We can go over to our planning mode. Cool. I think we left enough space. By accident. Need a space behind a stand, so we'll go place a gun turret there and a gun turret there. And this is where they stand. And we'll do the same on this side. Alright. Which means we could have people standing beside the gun turrets. Cool. Let's give some support beams just in the center here. We don't. Oh, we've got a little bit of steel. No, we don't have. Yeah, 20 steel. And our sandbags cost 6. No, too expensive. Porcupine 69. How's it going? Oh, right. We wanted to expand no roof area, and we wanted to build a roof here, because I think if we build a roof above here, we'll all be in darkness where we kind of stand behind while we're shoosting. And then we want to clear trees. So one way of doing that is creating a growing zone. I'll put my cotton in the kill box. So we'll create a massive growing zone. We'll build cotton here. And that means all the trees will remain cut. Yep, there's the roof going up. The one thing about the game is you can't undo the roofs really easily. Okay, I think it's sleepy time. Yep. Let's see. I don't want to disturb the rest because they have negative modifiers when they do that. We've got some crappy beds there and there. Bull isn't in bed yet. We'll put Bull in that room. Yeah, we'll fix the beds tomorrow. Where's Bull? He's sleeping outside? Oh no, he's doing exactly what we want the enemies to do. What? Oh. Are you going to sleep? Why aren't you sleeping with the rest of them? Can I make him prioritize sleepy? There we go. He's gonna have a snack. Yeah, our food's pretty low. Research bench, and then I think a place to put our food. Gat988, how's it going? Our cannibals have yet to catch anyone. It's kind of the early points in the game. But we'll build a first storage area for food close to where we're growing it. Door towards the fields, and we'll wait till we've harvested some before building an ice box or a passive cooler because we are low tech. Low, low, low. Hunt some more birds in the morning. Kill them blades. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Oh, and there's a rat. Oh, we could probably deconstruct that building. Steel, yes. Let's do that. Oh yeah, and then a research bench. Feels like this is all work. And this will be storage. And this will be storage. So let's put our research bench. Is it ugly? I forget. It doesn't say the beauty of it. We'd always put the research bench in the room of the person who's going to do researching. That seems a little twinky, though. Some of the comfort by building little stools in front of the benches where they work. Okay. I think they've got a busy day when they wake up. Alright, we're going to solve the bed problem when they wake up. The game is being nice and saying, you should build some defenses. We did. I like we don't have electricity yet. The sound of building is power tools.